ties a season-opening Supercross victory mark at the Murph. The National Hare Scrambles opener kicks into gear in Hollister, California, and a dual-sport dream adventure in the Aloha State. All this and more next on Motoworld.
Motoworld, brought to you by Suzuki. Right now, your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. Discover today's motorcycling. For the straight facts on motorcycling, call 1-800-833-3995. And by Honda Motorcycles, the leader in on- and off-road fun. Honda, come ride with us.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Bob Barsha, along with Art Ekman. Welcome to Motoworld. Back in 1989, Rick Johnson capped his Hall of Fame Supercross career by sweeping the first 5 events of the season. Interesting to note that Johnson didn't win the series championship that year, suffering a career-ending wrist injury, while teammate Jeff Stanton went on to record his first title that year. Well, Jeremy McGrath came close to that record last season, winning the first 4 events. And Art, this time McGrath was taking no chances in round 5.
No question, Bob, and it couldn't have happened in a more appropriate setting, Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. Not only the home of record holder Johnson, but just about 50 miles south of McGrath's own backyard. Jeremy McGrath didn't waste any time on this tight one-line slick San Diego track. He got the whole shot, but surprise, surprise! Number 19, Michael Craig from nearby Lakeside took Jeremy's lead away and held it for the first lap.
Yeah, Mike put a good pass on me. He was riding strong for the first lap, and after that I regrouped, got my stuff together, and I knew I had to get by him quick and just get away.
Jeremy would regain the lead on the very next lap. Behind number 1 and number 19, Lapson in 3rd, Ward in 4th, and John Dowd. As the top 4 began to pull a lead on the pack, Henry and LaRocco made their way up from 7th and 8th place starts. After having a difficult time in qualifying, Kudrowski was buried again. McGrath was simply gone. San Diego was the only venue where Jeremy was actually booed, and for good reason. He was in the hometown of Rick Johnson. Johnson is a sports legend in San Diego, and Jeremy was well on his way toward bettering several of RJ's incredible records. Johnson talked with Jan Vikas in riding gear just after taking a parade lap for the Legends of Supercross.
I'm happy for Jeremy. I've watched his career. I made a recommendation to Honda that they pick him up for the 125s, and he's gone on to just become the dominant rider of these past 3 years. So I'm happy for him, but there's a little piece of me, the competitive side of me, that says I wanted to hold on to that record forever. But this little string that I had of 5, it was good. If he beats it, I think he could win every race this season, to tell you the truth.
Lap 8, Larry Ward made his move after a terrific skirmish with Lapson.
You know, I was on Jeremy's pace tonight. Normally he's a little faster than me. Tonight I was just as fast as him. Better start would have made it interesting.
Number 2, LaRocco would win his battle with Henry, and after a bar banger with Lammy, would get by him on lap 11. It was that same lap, 2nd place changed hands. To Michael Craig's credit, he didn't wilt quickly, but Ward would make the pass. The 2 Honda teammates Henry and Lapson battled for 5th, with number 4 Henry winning out. And with only 5 laps remaining, number 2 Mike LaRocco would get onto the podium for the 3rd time.
You know, it'd help a lot if the guys out there would race Jeremy and not just everybody else but him, and it just makes it tough on everybody else who wants to win to get up there and do it.
As McGrath laid out his bike and did knack-knacks for the fans, the privateer Larry Ward nailed down a good, legit 2nd place. Jeremy Showtime McGrath in celebration of tying Rick Johnson's 1989 5 in a row to start the season.
I didn't feel like tonight that I was on and practice on in my heat race, and I felt a little tight. And it's amazing to me that the main event at that time was so easy. I got out in front, pulled away, and I mean, it's great to be, you know, up on the roster with Ricky Johnson, but my main concern at hand was to win the race, and that's what I was trying to do.
An amazing 21-point lead in the points race. Ward now has a 9-point margin over LaRocco in 2nd. Kudrowski, finishing 9th in San Diego, slips 10 in back of his teammate. Emig rounding out the top 5. Now Jeremy is only 3 wins away from tying RJ's all-time career win record. Absolutely remarkable. One rider wasn't at San Diego. Suzuki's Ezra Lusk went through successful ankle surgery to remove a bone chip, and he's expected to be at full strength by the Atlanta event, Bob.
All right, thank you, Art. It's tough to beat perfection, but McGrath isn't the only rider who's been perfect. More on that in a moment. Right now, let's keep our winning theme rolling with a look at this week's 1-800-COLLECT Honda scoreboard. Doug Dubach passed on the San Diego Supercross. The Doc showed up instead at GFI, where he easily won the over 30 race and was even more impressive taking the 250 Pro class. Sources tell us Dubach pulled off one of the great last lap over a step-up jump passes of all time to secure the overall win. Dubach showed well in the 125 class also, but there it was New York native Scott Sheik all over local fast guy Greg Schnell. Now we've got to take a break. Coming up, Art will have all the 125 action from the Murph, and we'll take you to Hawaii for the dual sport adventure of a lifetime. But next, we're off to California for the Hare Scrambles season opener. Stay with us.
I don't want a roof. I don't want a windshield. I don't want a vanity mirror. I don't want a cup holder. I don't want a shortcut. The Suzuki Intruder.
How do you visualize your future? This or this? Call Motorcycle Mechanics Institute and get on the fast track to success. Endorsed by all 5 major manufacturers, the MMI professionals will provide the technician training to give you control of your future.
I'm currently in charge of the Suzuki Yoshimura Super Sport program. I wouldn't be here today without MMI on my resume.
Call Motorcycle Mechanics Institute now to train for your future.
It's 40 years out of style. And if you hurry, you just might get your hands on one. The Shadow, American Classic Edition.
Welcome back to the show. The level of competition in the AMA Hare Scramble Series has increased tremendously over the last couple of years. Take the typical East Coast circuit out to the left coast, add some enduro guys looking for work, throw in a couple of desert aces, and you've got the makings for a competition with a capital C. Logan Sterling has all the action from round 1 in Hollister, California.
Defending Hare Scrambles champion Rodney Smith wasn't the only one debuting a jersey with a number 1 on the back. Teammate and enduro counterpart Steve Hatch, Hare and Hound King Danny Hamill, and cross-country champion Scott Plessinger were all present and hoping their good fortune continues into '95. How did off-road star Randy Hawkins fit into this mix?
I turned right in Atlanta and I ended up in California. I don't know what happened.
Hey, works for me. The whole shot went to the number 11 bike of Steve Hatch, with Rodney Smith and ISDE top American Ty Davis quick on his heels. Having swept up at the Adelanto GP the weekend before, Davis jumped to an early lead here, while Smith easily passed Hatch for steady control of second. That is, until the slipping and sliding caught up with him.
I had some problems near the end of the first lap. I crashed on my own, and Ty got away, and I never could, reel him back in to keep him in sight. And I crashed again on the second lap, and that let him get a pretty good distance on me.
While Smith had his eyes on the leader Davis, he couldn't forget about the guys he was trying to roost, namely rival Scott Summers.
That's them right there.
But the threat of a Summers comeback subsided after he ran out of gas at the end of lap 3. History reminds us that Summers has never won a Hare Scrambles in California. He lost some ground as he ran his bike into the pits for refueling, but he managed to finish 4th ahead of local rider Cole Marshall. There's Steve Hatch using the fire roads and California terrain to his advantage as the opener of the National Enduro Series kicks off in Coalinga next week. Not a bad practice round for the Suzuki star. He finished 3rd on the day. The race for the top spot between Ty Davis and Rodney Smith was actually not much of a race. Davis took the checkers with almost 2 minutes to spare. So what do you do if you're a rider who rides everything and wins?
My main goal this year is to win the National Enduro title, and I'm on a performance class. I got to go the first 3 races. If I do good, then Mark Johnson will let me go to the rest of them.
1995 Enduro stars, watch out. You have your work cut out for you. I'm Logan Sterling for Motoworld.
One final note on Ty Davis. Last year's Cycle News Rider of the Year is a great all-arounder, but has never picked up that elusive national championship. Maybe this will be his year. Now, to succeed in hare scrambles, you better have your front suspension working. That's the subject of this week's MMI Tech Tip. Here's Bernie Thompson of the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute.
Somebody out there is not watching Motoworld. A couple years ago, I did a tech tip on how to see how much front fork travel you are using. Well, I went to the local racetrack, and many riders aren't using their full amount of suspension travel. Here's a little trick I used on my race bike. Take electrical wire tie and attach it to the front tube by the dust seal. Or you can use an O-ring when servicing the front forks. Ride the bike around the track a couple times and check to see how much travel you are really using. If you're not using full travel, you might want to adjust your suspension to bottom at least once at full race speed. By getting the most out of your suspension travel, you'll have a smoother ride and better lap times. For the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute, I'm Bernie Thompson.
Thanks, Bernie. Of course, you'd have known all about front fork travel and a whole lot more if you had the benefits of Motorcycle Mechanics Institute training, and you can. Just write down this number, 1-800-225-1234, and call it after the show for information on a $5,000 MMI scholarship to be given away here on Motoworld. That free ride is good at MMI campuses in Phoenix, Arizona, and Orlando, Florida. The number again, 1-800-225-1234. Now, coming up, we'll have the 125 action from San Diego and the latest installment of our series on dual sport adventures, so sit tight.
Motoworld is being brought to you in part by the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute, the only major manufacturer-endorsed motorcycle training institution.
Hi, I'm C.B. Cessna, General Sales Manager at Scott Motor Company. In addition to the fine selection of Buicks, Cadillacs, and Land Rovers, Scott Motors has a great selection of pre-owned cars and trucks. If you haven't heard about Scott Motor Company, ask a friend. We feel our reputation with our customers is simply a matter of trust. Stop by, have a look around. No pressure, no hassle, no surprise charges, and no dock fees. Scott Motors on South Virginia, 1 block north of the Pepper Mill in Reno.
For the next 30 seconds, your local Chevrolet dealers would like you to remember 3 things. Chevy Truck Month. That's right, it's Chevy Truck Month at your Northern Nevada Chevy dealers. And that means now could be the best time to buy. Choose the redesigned Chevy Blazer, named Motor Trend's Truck of the Year. Compare it to the competition, and you could save hundreds. Or how about the rugged full-size and S-Series pickups? With option package savings, you can save up to $1,000. Remember these 3 things. Chevy Truck Month for the best new truck values, only at your Northern Nevada Chevrolet Geo dealers.
In college hoop, every game counts, and you lost them all. But you can still make it to the tournament with the ESPN and Pizza Hut March to the Final Four contest. Pick a team and ESPN will fly you to every tournament game they play. If they lose, forget them. You're still going to the Final Four. To enter, handprint your name, address, age, and home phone number on a 3x5 card and mail it to P.O. Box 2387, Redondo Beach, California, 90278. Ben, this is the best chance we've had all year.
Suzuki presents the Motoworld Suzuki Event Calendar. I'll look at some of the major events coming up in the world of motorcycles and ATVs.
Can Jeremy McGrath go for the gold? The U.S. Supercross Series heads to the Olympic City, Atlanta, Georgia, February 25th. The National Enduro Circuit heats up and heads to the Arizona desert for round 2 on Sunday, the 26th. And the smart money's on Jimmy Gaddis to win the National Arena Cross Series. Find out February 24th through the 26th as the final round heads to Denver, Colorado. For all your race results and highlights, tune into Motoworld.
Now, Art, let me ask a question. We're 5 weeks into the Supercross season.
You got it.
We've got 2 weeks before the next round in Atlanta.
Yep.
Well, even in that amount of time, I don't think I can think of another thing to say about Jeremy McGrath or Damon Huffman. So let's say if either one of them runs away with his event, we don't even introduce it. We just go right to the videotape.
Deal. Roll it. In the battle for the hole shot, 87 Clowers and number 41 Pingree go wide. Defending Western champ Huffman plays it smart. He cuts the speed down, takes the inside, and comes out of turn 1 in the lead. Even though dominating the 125s, Huffman has been working feverishly on his starts.
I'm just pumped up about my start. I decided to let off a little sooner and hug the inside all the way around, and, you know, it worked out really well.
With Huffman out in front, the anticipated rivalry with Hughes disappeared on the opening lap. Craig Decker, number 27, made his move on Hughes, taking second away from the hometown rider. Number 41, David Pingree, who earlier in the evening became the first to beat Huffman in a heat race this year, began putting the pressure on Hughes.
You know, I'm just riding a little tight out here, and I don't know why, so go back to the drawing board and hopefully come back. You know, we got a while before the next 125, and, you know, hopefully I can figure out what's going on.
Missing from the main event was number 32, Pedro Gonzalez. We flash back to the last chance qualifier. Pedro, who had crashed twice in the heat race, was torpedoed in this one. Watch number 345, Chad Swanjack. He takes out Gonzalez, and then when Pedro hastily tries getting back in the race, out of control, crosses the narrow track, Ted Campbell, number 247, and Forrest Transu had nowhere to go but into Gonzalez and themselves. Back in the main, you didn't miss a thing. Huffman, before mid-race, had a 7-second lead, and the field was spread out. Pingree was doing a triple no other 125 rider was attempting, but other than that, it was wait till Houston when the West 125s kick it off again. Craig Decker didn't win, but his second place helped him in the battle for second in points.
Brian was 2 points ahead of me coming into this race, and me beating him, I think that puts us back in a tie for second, so I think I can beat him at the end. I just got to stay consistent and ride like I rode tonight.
Huffman, who wants them all this year, takes the checkers for the 4th time in 4 races. Decker second, Hughes, Pingree, and Chad Pedersen the top 5. In points, Huffman could sit out a race with Decker and Hughes tied for second. Pingree is making some high marks, and Chad Pedersen takes Gonzalez's place in the top 5. It may sound like the proverbial broken record, McGrath and Huffman, Huffman and McGrath, but what we're seeing in Supercross is simply sustained excellence, unlike anything the series has ever produced before. But there is plenty of talent out there battling for the second place spots.
Well, as I said earlier, Art, you can't beat perfection, and let's credit the mechanics in all of this as well. Now I think I hear those trade winds calling, dual sport, dual sport. Stay with us.
Hey, I'm not home. Just leave a message.
Tommy, the hot tub's getting cold. Where are you?
Yo, Tom, we're shooting pool. You coming or what?
Thomas, your birthday dinner's in the oven. Everyone's waiting. Tommy, if you're there, pick up. Tommy?
Your right brain craves excitement, but your left brain nags to be practical. So get this hand on a Yamaha, and get this one on 8.9% APR, and 0 down, right side. Left side, great financing, plus $200 worth of free accessories. But since this one appeals more to your emotional side, here's a reminder for your rational side. Everybody's happy.
Friday night at 9 Eastern, Anthony Stevens and Kevin Pompey step into the ring for 10 rounds of welterweight pummeling. Top Rank Boxing on ESPN.
Coming up at 6:30 Eastern, Montana likely facing career-ending knee surgery. Baseball talks ending again. The redhead Rodman goes bobbing along again. We'll see you later on SportsCenter.
As the frigid hands of winter continue to strangle many parts of the country, Motoworld's Joe Colombero grabbed the plum assignment, not without a vicious fight from Art Ekman and myself, I might add, to head out to the land of pineapples, hula skirts, and lots of golden sunshine to ride a two-wheeled adventure through the Garden Isle of Kauai.
Welcome to the Garden Island of Kauai, a place so beautiful that they used it to film Jurassic Park, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the epic King Kong. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to ride dual sport bikes in the Two Wheels Dual Sport Adventure. Now, most people think of Hawaii and they think of beach and surf. Well, there's much more to it. This island has canyons, deserts, everything you could possibly want to explore, and we get to see it all on motorcycles. I can't wait to get started. Let's go.
Hawaii's got the most diversified area to be seen that I've ever ridden in, and I've been riding for over 30 years. And we can get you from desert to jungle to oceans, as you can see, right along the beach, right in the mountains, right in canyons that are spectacular. We're on the lip of Waimea Canyon, the Grand Canyon of the Pacific, and one of the prettiest spots on the island, we think.
Now, if you want to come do this, what do you need to bring?
Bring a sense of humor and your enthusiasm, a little bit of riding ability, whatever gear that you happen to have. And if not, we can provide the gear. We do provide the bikes, the fuel, the guide, T-shirt, great lunch, and all of this scenic beauty and way, way more. Tropical jungles, rainforests, and sand beaches. This island. You could fly over it in a helicopter, but you don't get to taste it, lick it, fall down in it, drink it, smell it, or any of that. You can film it and look at it from 1,500 feet or above, but that's about it. Not on the ground, not the way we do. We're allowed to ride down near the beach. We're allowed to ride up into the mountains. We have a working history with the sugarcane plantations that allow us to get into areas that normally you couldn't possibly get into any other way other than hiking or on a motorcycle.
Okay, we've been riding our dual sport bikes through the cane fields, and this is mature sugarcane behind me. That means it's well adjusted and happy with its life. Cane fields surround this island. It's not as profitable as it used to be, but sugarcane is still a big industry here. That's where the C&H stuff comes from. You'll see over here the smokestack. That's a sugar mill. That's where they're processing the cane. This stuff is all over all the islands, and sugarcane is used to make several things like sugar, which goes into your pies and your tarts and your soda pop. And it has nothing to do with dual sport riding, but it's kind of cool.
This is one of our typical little beach trails in the Ironwoods that if we're starting a hare and hound, we want to give the guys something mediocre, medium trail to play in, to kind of spread the fast guys out and get everybody in front. So we're going to play in the Ironwoods a little bit and some of the red clay behind us over there, a little bit of playground.
Okay, now we're at the Wailua Falls. This is just one of the many things you can see on the dual sport adventure. In fact, just beyond that dead tree there, they had a race where they ran motorcycles across the tops of the falls. That's not part of the regular tour, but the tourists loved it at that time.
Whatever isn't breathtaking is spectacular. So you get your choice. You get waterfalls, you get mountains, you get lush green forests. tropical rainforest.
So we've got beautiful, spectacular, epic.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. You know what's really great about this whole ride is if you want to do hardcore riding, if you want to be a hardcore off-roader, you can go do that. We're at the end of the road at China Beach Park. We've seen it all. We've done it all. We've gone where no tourist has gone before. And I've had a great time. For Motoworld, I'm Joe Collenberry.
For more information on how you can ride through the island of Kauai, the address is Two Wheels Dual Sport Adventures, 4555 Poli Road, Cape Ha, Hawaii, 96746. Or they can be reached via the telephone from the mainland. Dial 1-800-896-1230. From Hawaii, it's 1-808-822-7283.
Mahalo, Art. That series has been a lot of fun following while we await the racing season, but enthusiasts don't despair. Daytona's just around the corner. And to help it along a bit, we've dug up a classic battle from 1993 for this week's Yamaha Flashback.
At the green, Russell immediately jumped out front, set a pace that he hoped would leave Lawson behind. Russell drew out to a nice advantage before Eddie was able to break free and begin to run him down. Lawson later insisted he was in no danger. He said he could have drafted Russell in the home stretch if he had to. Instead, Scott ran afoul of a lapper, heading into the chicane for the final time. His momentum gone and the slower bike still in his path, Russell was helpless as Lawson motored by.
When we went up the bank, Scott went down low, and so I just went straight to the wall, and I figured I could get the run up the wall and back off of it, and he couldn't draft me back, and it worked out.
A year ago, from about that same distance, Russell ran down Poland and won by a bike length. But there was no catching Lawson, who assured everyone that the bike got the credit for his second Daytona win.
Moto World is brought to you in part by your local Yamaha dealer, who invites you to see their exciting line of motorcycles, ATVs, and snowmobiles. The latest bikes, the hottest wheels, the greatest finishes.
That's all I ever wanted.
It's time to ride your own race. Get on the fast track to success by calling Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. Endorsed by all 5 major manufacturers, the professionals at MMI will provide you with the training to finish first.
1 year after graduation, and I'm working for the 2-time and current AMA National Championship GT Endurance Road Race team, Team Moto Liberty.
This is the call that can change your life. Take the first step to MMI.
Your right brain craves excitement, but your left brain nags to be practical. So get this hand on a Yamaha, and get this one on 8.9% APR, and 0 down, right side. Left side, great financing, plus $200 worth of free accessories. But since this one appeals more to your emotional side, here's a reminder for your rational side. Everybody's happy.
And that'll do it for this edition of Moto World. Next week, we'll go both indoors and out. Ice racing undercover in Muskegon, Michigan, the opening round of the AMA Enduro season under the sun in Coalinga, California, and an up-close look at a rider in position to ruffle some factory feathers.
Look for us on ESPN at 2:30 next Sunday morning Eastern Time, 11:30 Saturday night Pacific. East Coast viewers get a second chance at 5 p.m. on Monday, 2 o'clock out west.
For Art Ekman and all of us here at Moto World, I'm Bob Varsha. We'll see you next week.